Welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for April 13th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 12. And if you add the 1 and the 2 together, you get the number 3. The number 3 is about positive mind. It's about a roller coaster. It's about learning to reframe the negative to the positive and roll with the punches and have a sense of humor in life. It's like a duck on the water. The duck goes up, the duck goes down with the waves, but it doesn't really react to the wave. It just is. And life sometimes has ups and downs, and it's important to learn to kind of laugh at those things as they're happening. Today, find joy in the small things. Find joy in the long-term goals that extend you past your comfort zone. Let life become that ride of ups and downs. Life is constantly teaching you. You think that you get to choose this life and the experiences you are having, but life is actually leading you towards those choices and actions in the most subtle and masterful of ways. You are being constantly created, coaxed, and cajoled in order for you to learn the lessons that life feels are essential to your growth, well-being, and spiritual evolution. There are many times that we try to resist those lessons, but when life is repeating again and again, then the great divine feminine is attempting relentlessly to teach you something that she deems essential. So with this number 3, I remember many times in my life that I felt like I was headed this direction. I'm going this direction. I'm turned this direction. I'm focused this way. I'm going to get to this goal. And then over time, it just felt like that goal never got any closer. And then I realized that there was a rope around my waist and that the universe was actually dragging me this way. And so I had to laugh because, here I have this ego goal that I'm going to go for this and this is what's important and I have to keep my eyes on the prize and I have to stay focused. And all the time, the divine feminine is actually dragging me towards my true potential, dragging me towards my true calling. And that to me is what the number 3 is about. To start to recognize that what you think you want maybe isn't what you really want in your soul and in your essence. I sit here and I look at this point in my life that I am, on this beautiful acreage in the redwood forest, and I would have never guessed in a million years that I could be here. And it's not that I didn't want it. I just never saw that as the goal. And I was always going to be a city girl and, be around the theater and be around the performing and be with people and be very engaged. And I have always had this very quiet side, this very private side that people don't always know about. And so here I am now on this beautiful land, and I get a chance to just be at peace with myself and recognize that the universe actually had a better plan than my plan. It was actually a much better idea, that I feel like I have a life now rather than a career or a mission or a purpose. And I say this because I think that humanity has gotten overly focused on having power, wealth, status, stuff. And in that process, we aren't realizing that the universe is not sometimes letting us get to certain goals because those goals are actually not going to give us what we think we're going to get. We're not going to be happy. We're not going to be content. And I think that's really what life is about, is to find that sense of purpose within yourself, but to be content with your life and to have a happy life and to be able to relax into your life. So take a look around, notice if you have a rope around your waist, and see if you're being dragged in another direction. Because you might be like me, being dragged in another direction, and look at where I ended up. This is pretty awesome. This is not a bad thing at all. Okay. The astrology for today. The moon is still in Capricorn, and it's assisting you with common sense and bringing kind of more caution into the mix. I want you to notice where you might be set in your ways. Now, single-minded focus is not a bad thing, but know that others also have a single-minded focus, and they might be doing exactly the same thing you're doing. And then your single-minded focus is going to clash with their single-minded focus. And maybe we should just notice that we're a little intense about a particular thing and try and let that go, and notice that other people might be feeling that intensity too, and give them permission to let that go. While a long-term focus is going to pay off more than any short-term goals right now, unfortunately, I think it's a long-term focus. I think we're in a cycle that's going to take quite a while to complete. So don't get overly attached to a deadline, because I've said it before, everything is sort of frozen in winter signs. And so the summer signs like me can feel a little impatient that nothing is happening. But winter, when there's so much winter, I feel like we're playing the Game of Thrones. Winter is coming, winter is coming, winter has come. We're in winter. And so everything is going to get cold, bitter, dry, freezing, stuck. And we're going to have to learn to go at a pace that we can move with. The Sun and Pluto are heading towards a square, which is actually going to be exact tomorrow. And some people might be feeling it as it's coming in. And expect some worldly tension to add upset to an already overly filled emotional cup. Today, see if you can relax. So that when this aspect hits tomorrow, you'll have a little bit more wiggle room. I find that life can seem troubled and difficult, and I want you to do your best not to fight with yourself in the middle of it all. You may not know who to trust or put your faith into, but the truth is that you have to learn lessons on trusting yourself first before you can trust anybody else. The more important lesson is that you are learning to tell the difference between illusion and truth. And I mean, I have been talking about this for years based on the astrology, and it is just getting louder and stronger in the astrology. So, I know I'm repeating myself, but I swear sometimes we have to repeat things a lot of times before we start to understand them. I remember being with gurus and they would say something to me and I'd be like, oh, I understand that. I understand what you're talking about. And then like 20 years later, I suddenly remember what they said and I'm like, oh, like I didn't realize they were talking about this over here. So know that there are layers of illusion and there's layers of truth, and we only perceive the level that we're on at that moment. And breaking out of illusion is an incredibly painful thing to do. And I want you to watch people who hold on to illusions that they are somehow immune to coronavirus or world situations because of some delusion of power that they have because of a faith or a belief. And viruses don't really operate that way. And don't get me wrong. I mean, like having a positive attitude is really good when you're sick, and it does help. It absolutely does help. But there's a difference between having a positive attitude and having a delusion that you are somehow superior because of your spiritual practice or your belief or your faith. And these are childish illusions of superiority that are false and that one should never hold on to because they can become dangerous as a belief. And I think this virus is kind of here to teach us that. It is essential to learn to face the reality. It is sad to see, while, all the good attitudes in the world absolutely are positive and absolutely support healing, you also cannot deny that they're happening and that diseases are happening and that diseases are going to kill people. And it's true that spiritual arrogance can put others in lethal danger. And that is why we all need to be conservative in our projections and do what is being asked of us to help others, rather than to take this moment to prove from our mind and our ego that we are somehow more special. So this astrology right now is going to expose those who intend to manipulate or to connive to make their point. I wanted humanity to eventually get past all this childish superstition and allow science and medicine to lead in the areas where they specialize, and to leave medicine to the doctors, nurses, scientists, and researchers, and listen to what they are saying. And I believe that we need to respect each person's gifts and tools. And I'm not saying that everybody is right all the time. And I'm not saying that medicine has all the answers right now, but they might have more answers to this particular dilemma than another group, right? And, I think that everybody has a specialty, and having your specialty is good, but pretending that your specialty can answer all the problems and questions in the world is delusional. I'm just going to say it, it's delusional. All right. Now, with the square coming into and connecting to the quarter moon, everyone is being asked to take a more mature path to life. Freedom requires you to let go of the patterns and beliefs that may have gotten you to this point. Now you're being asked to expand and grow into a new and more mature self. Never misuse your gifts. Never use your gifts to manipulate others to give yourself status or power. Okay, so my quote for the day. There is great danger in denial. Within denial is a legendary doom. Denial is allowed to grow because of those that refuse to see, those that refuse to take action, and those that believe that they know better. Denial births horrors and unleashes darkness in the world. Denial eats truth and swallows light. Denial festers fear and cultivates shame. Denial is the virus that will take over, take life, and take away the goodness that has been created over time. Okay. So everybody knows, because of all these videos that I do and the classes that I have online for numerology that are free on my YouTube channel, and my tarot class that's free on my YouTube channel too, that I do numerology and tarot. And if you take the letters from the word COVID and you put them into numbers, so COVID becomes 36494. If you add all those numbers together, you get 26. If you add 2 and 6 together, you get the number 8. And this is the number of grief, loss, and sadness. I find that interesting, how these things work. So this disease is here to bring grief, sorrow, and great loss. But it is also here to be a powerful force that intends to open up the right brain and the intuition, the spirituality, and the empathy. Because if you add the 19 from COVID-19, you actually get a 36. And if you add the 3 and the 6 together, you get the 9. And the 9 is the number of empathy, psychic ability, mysticism, magic. It's a high priestess number. And so here we have these two numbers that are trying to blend and combine. And after all, we are in a world of duality. And within every human, there are two sides to our nature. In all of life, in this domain on earth, it has two sides that must learn to work together in harmony to bring about a healing in the split that manifests in this world. We are here to understand and be a part of that healing, as we are also a part of that duality. But we must allow our souls to mature past addictively seeing things as good or bad and into understanding the nature of life here in a dualistic world. We are here to learn how to unify both sides of our nature, and then in turn see this world as a landscape of a great game that is designed to awaken us to the reality of that duality. So, a tiger has great strength, stealth, and beauty, but it is also a killer, a hunter, and an opportunist. Two sides fighting within and somehow forming a balance that adds to life while it takes that life away. Now, a virus is no different. It challenges our immune systems to make us stronger, and it takes the lives of those that cannot fight off its powerful, destructive nature. It appears mindless and random, but it has an intention, which is to grow, spread, and evolve. The problem is that it can evolve into a more virulent form if not taken seriously. Man is also caught within his own dualistic nature. On one level, man is an observer of beauty, a creator of great things such as art, architecture, and feats of engineering, power, and impact. But on the other side, mankind holds within him a seed of hate, manipulation, and cruelty. It is essential that each person learns to own that duality within. It is essential to survival that we recognize that we are all the sides. Just because we want to project one positive side so that I can learn to live with myself does not mean that those other qualities are not there, even if buried. Circumstances can and will arise to remind you that within each of us are many other parts, and when challenged, they will surface to protect and defend against perceived injustices. This virus is showing us our own duality by forcing us to stop, and metaphorically, it's also forcing us to our knees. Isn't it amazing that something so small can literally stop the wheels of progress in an instant? I believe that is what this virus's intention is, and I believe that it is nature herself creating this moment to make us stop and think about what it is that we are doing. She is showing us that our denied dark side is destructive to this world and all of life, and she is attempting to get us to shift so we can see and own that darkness. That is how we will eventually reclaim balance, but denial will never get us to truth. Denial will never give us freedom. Denial of what we have done will never allow us to take full responsibility for the horrors that we continue to inflict upon this world. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a good day. Bye.